These are 10 learning methods if you are a visual learner. Now, I have previously discussed auditory learners, visual learners. So if you want to check out that difference, the link of the video will be in the description section. Hi guys, welcome back to Girl Free Mind. I am Dr. Shruti Bhattacharya, and today I bring you another video in the productivity series. These are 10 learning methods if you are a visual learner. Now, I have previously discussed auditory learners, visual learners. So if you want to check out that difference, the link of the video will be in the description section. That video is called 10 learning methods for auditory learners. Now, if you're a visual learner, this one's for you. If you want to check out the other productivity videos, that link will also be in the description. Go check out the blog, Guilt Free Mind, and subscribe to that so that I can notify you every time I release a new article. And if you haven't subscribed to the video yet, go ahead and do that right now. It's free of cost. It keeps me motivated, so it's a win-win for both of us, right? Alright, with that, let's get into the video. So, point number 1, find a quiet place in your house to study. Studying is not something that can be done with a lot of cacophony around. White noises or the noises of cars, bikes, traffic is different. But when people talk, your brain is going to get distracted. So focus on having a place that is completely peaceful and quiet, and no one's going to disturb you while you're studying. You can tell them beforehand, okay, I'm going in for a 2-hour session, so please don't bother me, and try to keep your volume low. So find a peace and quiet, peaceful place to study so that you can focus better, you can concentrate better. Point number 2, color code. Use color coding. Now, color coding, I don't mean that you highlight your whole book top to bottom or every answer top to bottom. No. You highlight the important points that you will be looking back at later when it's time to revise. So you highlight the points so that when next day when you open your book, okay, you can glance at those points. Okay, right, these are the points I remembered yesterday. So, okay, yeah, I remember them now. Makes it much easier for you to work. Similarly, you can either use highlighting, or you can encircle the information, you can underline it, or you can use sticky notes to mark out specific important pages that you have to go back to and read again and again because they are a bit harder than the others. Stuff like that. Point number 3, rewrite the information that you just learned. The way our brain works is that we have a sensory memory, then the information from sensory memory goes into the short-term memory, and then it goes into the long-term memory. Now, when you're reading something and you feel like, okay, I have understood this. Okay, yeah, I remember everything. When you're feeling that way, that is when the details are in your short-term memory. They have not progressed to your long-term memory yet. So at this point, it's very crucial, if you're a visual learner, that you write down the things. Get a pen, get a paper, and just jot down the important points. You don't have to write the whole answer word by word. Just the important point, so that the information that you have studied gets encoded and gets stored in the schemas of your long-term memory. This makes it much harder for you to forget the information. Point number 4, draw flowcharts or diagrams. Again, this also comes after you finished studying. So suppose you are studying how something works. So there will be steps, right? So once you finish studying, you take a pen and paper and you write down those steps, like, in a flowchart manner. And you keep that flowchart separate so that when your exam time comes, you just look at the flowchart and you revise. Instead of, going through the entire answer which has words you really don't need to waste time on when you are already short on time and have to revise for the exam the next day. So similarly, diagrams also work in a similar manner. They boost a visual person's memory, and they are much harder to forget than written notes. So try using more of flowcharts and diagrams wherever possible to enhance your memory capacity. Point number 5, walk around. Now, when you're studying, it is very easy to just stick at one place and read, and then suddenly you realize, oh my god, I fell asleep. So one point that when you move around and you're studying is that you cannot fall asleep. Point number 2, the spatial arrangement of your room or of your house. So when you're walking, I'm not asking you to walk in the entire house, just a small place, back and forth, that's it. So when you're walking and studying, you learn to block out every other visual sensory information that's coming into your brain from the peripheral vision. and you learn to only focus it on your book, notebook, or whatever you're studying. This. And the final importance of moving around is that it gets your blood pumping, keeps you from falling asleep, as I mentioned before, and it also sends more blood to your brain. So your neurons are much more active when you're walking and studying than when you're sitting and studying. There are studies on this, trust me. Point number 6, make use of flashcards. Now, 10 to 12 years back, flashcards were not such a big thing, but now they are. If you have a group of friends who, are like-minded, like you, think like you and stuff like that, you can ask them as well to prepare flashcards. You can distribute the syllabus amongst all of you, and each of you gets a section where they prepare flashcards, and then you can exchange it among your friends, and it will be so much easier to revise. When you're revising from your flashcards, the place where you get stuck, keep those flashcards separate and make 2 piles, one of which you are sure you remember all the information, one where you are finding it a bit hard to remember everything. So you have 2 piles. You keep targeting the pile which has difficult information unless it reduces to nothing. Even when it is the time of the exam, you will have a pile of flashcards which are the difficult ones. So you go through them first before tackling your other subjects or other parts of the syllabus. Next point number 7, write your own test questions and answer them. While you're studying, you can just make questions on each of the topic and put it down in a different notebook. And when you're revising, you can just take that notebook and look at the questions and remember whether you can recollect the answers or not. A much easier, simpler, and effective way to get you ready for your exam, and you don't even have to open your huge ass books repeatedly for this. Next point number 8, design mind maps. Now, when I ask you to design mind maps, I don't mean you design it in your head. I mean you design it on a pen and paper. So, when you're studying, like whether you're studying physics or whether you're studying chemistry, biology, anything, there's always a connection. There are always connections between chapters. Now, let me take the example of biology because my PhD is in immunology. Suppose you're studying nerve firing. How do the nerves fire? And how do they conduct information from one nerve to the other? There are so many nerves in our body. So, if you're studying the digestive system, your nervous system will also be a part of that. Your skeletal system will also be a part of that. Your muscular system will also be a part of that because there are muscles involved, the skeletal system is involved, the nerves are involved, blood circulation is involved. So many digestive enzymes are involved. The whole process of digestion is involved. So when you're putting down the details of digestion, you add in, okay, this nerve is working here and then this muscle is getting contracted over here. So you have an entire picture instead of only the picture that involves digestive enzymes and your food. I hope I am clear in explaining this bit of information. If you have any queries, feel free to put it down in the comment section below and I will be happy to clear them out for you. Next point number 9, outline your notes. So if you're using a marginalized page, or if you make margins in your notebook while you're making notes, once you start revising, you can just put important points in the margin section. The margin basically stays blank. Make use of it, put down the important points over there. So when you're revising right before the exam, and I never suggest that you only do one revision, you must have at least as many revisions as possible and at least 3 to 4 revisions of the whole syllabus before you go and give your exam. So put down, when you start revising, put down the important points in the margin so that when you look at it frequently, you don't have to go through the whole information. You can just look at the margin, what points are there, and be done with that. Now, point number 10, possibly the most important point of all of these. Focus on using spaced revision or repetition system. Now, what are spaced revisions? Spaced revision is when you revise it today. Like, you have a pattern for revision. So you divide your syllabus into, okay, I will be tackling this section today, this section tomorrow, this section the day after, and stuff like that. And then you go about tackling them. This I'm talking about in terms of revision. And then you schedule another time when you will be revising the same thing again. Now, the second time point when you're revising the same thing, you go over the important stuffs and the stuffs where you were finding it difficult to recall last time. So you space out your revision. It doesn't mean that you revise today and tomorrow you go and give exams. No, there has to be many revisions before that, and they have to be spaced out. If you revise chapter 1 today and you revise chapter 1 again tomorrow, it is not going to help with your recall because you won't know how much you're truly able to recall. So chapter 1 on day 1, chapter 1 on day 7 again. After you've revised 6 other chapters in between, you go back to chapter 1 and revise it again. This is how you do spaced revisions. Now this, I used it in terms of days. You can also do it in terms of hours if you don't have a lot of time and if it's a chapter you're struggling with. So find your own rhythm. These points are from my point of view, but you have to find your own rhythm. And if you have any queries, any comments, please make sure to put it down in the comment section. Check out the blog, check out the productivity videos. I also have another YouTube channel. It's brand new right now by the name Study with Doc, where I keep you company while you're studying. So go ahead, subscribe to that, and check out my Twitch channel as well. Again, it's all a co-working stream. I do live streaming on Twitch where I study and work alongside you, and I keep you company. So do all of this. Lots of work, right? I hope you made notes from this video, and any queries, any comments, feel free to reach out and I'll be happy to help. Go ahead, subscribe to this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, take care.